Hello, it's Michelle, and I'm here for 3 different hops. Simple Story Saturdays, Designer Deep Dive, and Christmas in April, because it's the 25th. So I have 2 photos of Max. He was my dachshund before Finley. And I have a little bit of this Mix and Mingle paper. I did not buy much of it. I guess I have 4 sheets and the 12 by 12 sticker sheet. That's all I've got. But I was sold on this print with the dachshunds. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm gonna make this my background, but I think I'll frame it in this red. So I'm going to trim it here and here so I don't cut off the numbers. And then I'm following a sketch of Jana Eubanks from a crop she and Becky Adams did. And I'm going to use this circle shape on here. I'm going to cut this paper out of the circle, and then it'll be centered. And this is chipboard from Close to My Heart from a zillion years ago, and I am going to ink it in red. So I think so I have 2 sheets of this. I'm only going to use one. So I'm going to put you on fast forward while I make this layout. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to gut this red paper, leaving an inch on each side so that I can use the inside part to make my circle element. Then I will cut a little bit less than 7.5 inches. And I struggle a little bit with the circle cutter. It worked out fine, but I probably do need a better circle cutter, like maybe the Creative Memories one. But I got it all down, and now I'm going to ink it. And I used Holiday Red from Close to My Heart, which seemed to work out to match really well. Then I'm using my glue press, which I have filled now with Bearly Art. It really is my preferred wet glue. I don't have anything against Nuvo or the Art Glitter Glue, but Bearly Art was the first one that I bought out of the 3, and so I kind of always go back to it. Now the ledger paper I'm going to cut down to 11.5 by 11.5, so it will be framed by that red. I always think, are we gonna one day, like 5 or 10 years from now, look back and go, why did we frame all of our layouts? I mean, it's just what we do, right? But it is a trend, don't you think? I mean, we didn't used to. I just don't know if we will continue, but it is what it is, and I enjoy it now. So here, you'll see that I did go ahead and kind of try to figure out my embellishment clusters. I took stickers off the sticker sheet. I put them on some of the embossing powder, that pouch, the anti-static pouch, to kind of take the sticky off. And then I did find another red circle, and I inked it up too, and I'm going to make it kind of the cluster base in the upper left. And then I thought, you know, why not, I don't have heart punches this size, so I got out my heart dies, and I just decided to use some of the scraps of the paper and cut out hearts. I do not have any of the ephemera for this collection, and I was trying to stick with just simple stories. Otherwise, I probably could have gone to my color drawers and pulled out some things. So I felt like I was being creative, and so yeah, I cut out like 3 large hearts, 3 small hearts, I think, in each pattern, something like that. And I was telling my friend Julia that if I had printed the photos a little bit smaller, it would have made the layout easier to make, but I just had to print them out as big as I did, which was almost 4x4. I just thought they're super cute photos of him wearing that Santa hat, and I didn't want to make them any smaller. I'm also thinking about making probably a 6x8 or maybe an 8x8 album of just Max. So I might scrap these same photos again, probably smaller, since the whole real estate will be 6x8. But I'm thinking I will, and I'll just use scraps from this. And I find those 6x8 layouts go together really quickly. So I really thought I had cut this part out, so I apologize. We're just die cutting. And I also apologize. There, at some point, you can't see the layout down at the bottom, and I have gone back to standing to make my layouts because I feel like my voice is heard better standing than sitting. I don't know. I can't decide what I'd rather do, but I get tired standing, so I may go back to sitting again. Who knows? So here I just kind of eyeball it where I want to put it. I have the photos now cut down. I cut a border strip off the sticker sheet and cut it to make kind of a shelf under those photos. And then I had a branding strip that I decided to put on top of the red, and I used a scallop border punch to give it the scallop. So it's kind of like a double scallop shelf. And then I completely forgot that I was going to put that tag behind the photo, like in a pocket, and that's where the journaling was going to be. So that's not going to work because I already glued it down. But that's okay. That just, you just go with something else. So because the chipboard has some depth, took a little bit of figuring out where to put adhesive behind things so that they would be the same level. And so that's what I had to do with that little red circle and even the holly jolly and definitely the photos too. But it wasn't hard. It's just, like where are they gonna go over that circle? And here I'm showing you where I had like kind of a yearly foam sticker collection, and I'm gonna use that word joy, and you'll have to wait and see where I end up putting it. I couldn't decide. And now I'm working on that little cluster with the little Santa sleigh. And when I get to the one in the lower right, that's when it looks like I pulled my layout down too far, and I just cut out that footage because you could just see that I was working on something, but you couldn't see what I was doing, and that I apologize. And there I had to put the little red cardinal because Max is no longer with us, and so you know how cardinals mean that a loved one is visiting you if you see one. So I thought, why not use the cardinal? I have all of my twine together, so I pulled out my little twine box, and instead of getting into the new, I decided just to use some loose red twine that I already had. That is my enamel dot storage. Just wanted to show you briefly that. I have them all stored by color, and I decided to use a light pink is what I mean, a light pink, kind of that background color with the Dachshund paper is that greenish color, greenish tealish color, and then the dark teal. I didn't want to use red because there's already so much red on the layout, so I think the color choices of the enamel dots worked well. And so here I am, I'm just putting those finished touches on there. And I think this is when I grab that Joy and I put it down at the bottom. That's where it goes. Okay, I like to take the sticky off the stickers with this embossing powder thing. That helps me move them around. And so I like how this turned out. I used all Simple Stories except for the hearts, but I still use Simple Stories paper. I did pull out my hard candy that I also don't have very many things with, and I kind of looked at it. Colors are similar. Pink is a little brighter, so I decided not to. This is where I was going to put my journaling, where I was gonna slip it behind this photo, but I forgot that was my plan. So instead, I still wanted to have the tag here, but I will I'll just write some journaling, probably right down here, and I think that will be fine. Alrighty, thank you for stopping by. I'm gonna have 3 playlists down below, and I hope that you will check out everyone else down below who's playing along and see what they're doing with Simple Stories Saturday and the Designer Deep Dive that is also Simple Stories this month, and also Christmas in April. Have a great day. Bye-bye.